Welcome to another episode of the Peak Potential Success Show. My name is Fong. I'm an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, and also best-selling author. And every single day, I help others unlock potentials and guide them to succeed. Today on the show, we have an amazing guest. In fact, this guest is one of the very first speakers I saw and was attending live during the first parts of my journey to entrepreneurship and real estate and all that great stuff. And I'm so happy that I attended that event because he was so captivating, so motivational, so energetic. I could still feel that excitement being in that session that day. And he was also the very first person who seed planted writing a book for your company or for your brand or whatnot. And I'm so glad I was there because as many people know, I've published a lot of books, and it was all because of this guy right here. So very, very excited to have him here. He is the master of Passionomics. He is an international star, motivating, inspiring, dynamic speaker all over the world. He's an author. He loves empowering entrepreneurs who question their calling, are frustrated and freaked out over finances, are tired of the time, task, tension to live on purpose, earning maximum profit with peace of mind. So please welcome award winner, results consultant, mental toughness success coach, Mr. Alan Goff.
Well, good morning. It's fantastic. Thank you for allowing me to be with you today. It's already been a great investment of our time together, Fong. I can't wait to see where we're going today.
Awesome. Once again, thank you for being here. And I just can't wait because if I could remember correctly, you are energetic, you are dynamic, and I had to up my game for that intro or else I can't compare to your energy level. So no, I'm not seed planting there, but I'm just saying. So first off, for people who don't really know who you are an international speaker. You speak all over the world. You inspire so many thousands and thousands of people. How did you get to where you are today?
Wow, I mean, you don't save the best for last. You're just going right out of the gate with those big questions. That's fantastic. I'm going to do my best, Fong, to try to keep my answers a little bit short for you so that we can get more in today. But, you ask, how did I get to where I was today? I had a dream when I was 10 years old. I don't mean a dream in my sleep. I just had this sense in me somewhere. I don't know where it came from, but I just kind of had this knowing that one day I was going to grow up and I was going to spend my life as a communicator, as a professional speaker. Now, I thought way back in those days, growing up in the family environment that I did, I thought that was probably going to be my future was going to be, I was going to be a preacher, but of course that didn't turn out to be the case. But I knew that somewhere down the road, I was going to be standing on platforms and speaking to people. I just kind of knew that was kind of the destiny for me. And I made a change, a big life change and a big career change in 2000 and end of 2005, beginning 2006, and stepped into the professional speaking industry. And what a journey that has been. You say, how did I get to where I am today? I got to where I am today, Fong, in short, because I learned to step through the fear and insecurities that I had to get to what I wanted. And I had to want what I wanted more than I don't know how to want to say that. I wanted to step through the fear more to get what I wanted the most. Mm-hmm. I would have never got to where I am today had I let the fears and worries and doubts and insecurities that I had, and I think that all of us have, if I let that hold me back.
Mm-hmm. So going all the way back at the age of 10, you were already destined to become some sort of speaker. So throughout that time period from like junior high, high school, university, were you focusing on courses that get you towards that? Or did you actually have another path that then you leverage to become a speaker?
This is going to sound like an oxymoron after what I just said. I was aimless. I was aimless in those early years of school, junior high, high school. I was the guy that I think my high school yearbook, you write in there what your ambitions are. I think, my ambitions was to, party and eat pizza. I mean, it was pathetic. I was pretty aimless in there, but yet there was this thing inside of me that I knew kind of destined one day, but I wasn't sharp enough. I wasn't smart enough, if that's even the right terms, or I wasn't maybe aware enough to put myself on a purposeful plan to get to where that dream needed to take me. I was just the typical kid. I would just go to school every day, kind of do the minimum amount that I could do to get through class. I was the typical D student. You know, if I got a C, it's because I lied, cheat, stole, you know, kind of thing. And so, no, to be honest with you, I did not have a purposeful plan to move forward. I did not take specific courses that would empower me better and equip me better to get there. I sure wish I would have. I probably could have got further, farther, faster. But I didn't begin to do that probably until about the early 2000s. Or the early 2000s, yeah.
And what was that very first speaking engagement that you've done? Like where you went up there and goes, this is what I'm gonna do, and this is the first one. How did you feel? What was your topic? How did you approach that?
Well, I'm going to back up a little bit from my very first speaking engagement, maybe as a professional. But when I was a young lad, I was in my late teens, and of course, you heard me say already a little bit in the family I grew up in. You know, we were a very faith-based family, going to church on Sundays, kind of thing. There was a time when our pastor was going to be away. And instead of asking one of the elders of the church or the assistant pastor or something like that to take the service in his absence, he asked me if I would actually take the service in his absence. And so there I was young, I was probably 17 years old, and I'm standing on the stage at church behind the pulpit, and my job is to deliver a message to the congregation. Well, you talk about, I should have worn a Depends. I just about crap myself. I was nervous, and so what a way to start. Hey, what a way to start. But I remember, though, let's fast forward to your question. When I'm on the platform and it's my very first actual speaking engagement, oh my Lord, I was so excited. I just knew that I knew that I was in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, that this was in full alignment with my talents, my abilities, the gifts and strengths that the good Lord gifted me with the thing that I was most passionate about. I was doing the thing that gave me a sense of purpose for the betterment of other people. And I just knew that I was in my fit and I had found my place. There was nothing that even resembled a hesitation or a question at that time. It was like, I found my place. Here I am. It was magical. And I truly believe that there's something inside of every single person, Fong, that would give them that opportunity. We all have been gifted. You have, I have, every one of our listeners today, our viewers today have been gifted what I call those natural talents, abilities, gifts, and strengths. Of course, in the book that I wrote that you mentioned a long time, I talk about those tags, talents, abilities, gifts, strengths. We have them. We all have them. Yours are different than mine. Mine are different than yours. And they should be, because that's what makes us unique. And when you can discover what your unique talents and abilities and gifts and strengths are, and you can mine them to the surface, as we say, and you'll find that those talents, abilities, gifts, and strengths are already in alignment to help you succeed at doing the thing or the few things that you're most passionate about. And when you can get that formula right, it puts you on the path to fulfill that desire to be part of something bigger than just you, and to fulfill a meaningful and worthwhile purpose in life. Everybody has that. It's part of your DNA. It's part of the code that's inside of you. And I don't care what part of where in the world you are, or what industry you move into, or what vocation you move into. Everybody has that and can have the same feeling that I had when I stood on that point. This is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm perfectly suited for. This is where my gifting lies. This is my strength zone. This is where my talents allow me to shine at my best. And it's one of the things that I decided to focus on to help people do, was to find that exact moment for themselves and then stay in that for the rest of their lives, because that's where they're going to serve society the best.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask you something related to that, because you said everybody has a talent, everybody has a skill, but lots of people don't actually recognize that is in fact their talent. Either they're very, very humble, or they don't want to boast. They just, oh, I'm not that great, there's somebody better, and all kinds of stuff. So they don't recognize it as their talent. There's lots of people who wants to become a speaker. And sometimes people say, well, you should speak on something you're really good at. Let's say real estate or finances or something. And they go, but we don't have that, or I don't know what to talk about. So how do you help somebody find out what their first story, first speech, first presentation would be? Or how do they find their talent?
It's an interesting journey to go on one of the things that can be very helpful for people, Fong, is to go ask people that are close to you. Now, this can be tricky because sometimes our friends and those close to us, they'll tell us things that they think we want to hear because they love us and they're trying to encourage us. And so they're always, yes, oh, you're great, you're wonderful. Yes, yes, yes. You don't want that kind of person. You really don't want that kind of person in your close circle. I mean, it's just a cheerleader. I mean, we need cheerleaders, but you want somebody that really knows you well, knows what makes you tick, knows, how you operate and why you operate the way that you do. You begin to go ask those people some questions. If I was to step into a new role in my life, if I was to move into a new direction, or you could say, if I was to step onto a platform somewhere and speak about a subject of some kind, of which maybe I could be a bit of an authority, what would you think that would be for me? I did that when I began to move into this line of work, into my speaking career. And I kind of wanted a bit of a confirmation, if you will. Am I actually moving in the right direction? Is this my lane? Is this, I'm excited about it, but is this really what it should be? I began to go to those people that were closest to me and I asked them that question. If I was to step into a completely new direction, step into a completely new kind of line of work, what do you think it would be that would suit me the best? Where do you think I would shine? Where do you think that I could give my best? And why do you think that? And those people, all of them pretty much said the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, you need to be on a platform. Your natural gifts and talents are to motivate people and to inspire people. And you're a great catalyst for change. And, you're a bit of a visionary. And I mean, it was all very ego stroking. You kind of go, oh, thank you very much. But when it comes from a place of sincerity, again, you're asking people that aren't there just to fluff you up and blow smoke up your pant leg. Mm-hmm. They're there to tell you the real deal. And it gave me great comfort and it gave me great confirmation. You're right, though, because if we try to do the journey just on ourselves, oftentimes that journey allows us to say things that kind of hold us back. Well, who am I to really think that that's me? Yeah. Am I really that good? Is that really the direction that I should go? And we doubt ourselves, right? We know ourselves the best. We know where we've let ourselves down. We know where we've broken agreements with ourselves. We know where we failed. And so we're hard on ourselves that way. So in a journey like this, as important it is, it's vital to have some very, very close inner circle people around you that will tell you the truth in love, right? With tact and diplomacy a little bit, but be very real about that. When it comes maybe to answer the question, well, how do I find out what my story is or what I might speak about if I'm an aspiring speaker? You've got to have credibility. You have to have credibility. If you're going to get on a platform and speak about something, here's what I can guarantee you. The world does not need another fake, phony, or fraud. The world does not need another poser. The world does not need another, you know what I mean. Yeah. You've got to be able to speak on something that you are an authority on because you lived it. You went through it. You overcame it. You conquered this or you, whatever it was. You have to have some credibility because people can't take that away from you. If all you're going to do is try to speak to somebody or teach somebody something that you read in a book, stay home and grow an ant farm for crying out loud. I mean, talk is cheap and information is free. Mm-hmm. We do not need another speaker out there in the world that's just going to teach somebody that they read in a book or that they learned online or that they watched on a video. I mean, I had a young guy come to me one time. I'm going to go off a little tangent, but I'm going to come back real quick. And he was about a 19-year-old kid, and he came to me and he says, "Hey, I'm a life coach, but I'm stuck." And I don't, but I don't know how to build my business. Could you help me? And so I started with him. I said, well, how did you become a life coach? And he said, well, I sat in the audience in a Tony Robbins seminar once. Yeah. No, I'm not saying anything about Tony Robbins, but I said, excuse me? And he goes, I said, oh, did you take his certification? Did you get trained by Tony as a coach? Did you go through a program? Did you, and he goes, no, I just sat in the audience once, at a conference. And so now I'm a life coach. Well, what credibility do you have that's going to help somebody else? So what I'm saying is, I hope you kind of hear what I'm saying. Yeah. What journey have you walked? That have you taken? That because of your experience, that nobody else can take away from you. You can say, I did this because I did this. I learned this, and because I learned this, I can impart that knowledge to you. And if I teach you not what I know because I read in a book, but I teach you what I live and what I went through to get from here to here, that's where transformation happens for you. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that you should be speaking about. That's the thing that you should be teaching about. That's the thing that you should be writing about, not the thing that you know because you became full of head knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Very, very powerful stuff. I love that. And there's a lot of people out there who claim to be something after doing just a minimal amount of work, and they go, "Oh, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this," and they're like, "Wait a minute, how long have you been doing it? Not very long. And how many properties do you have? Oh, I just got the one." And you call yourself an investor in a real estate
Right.
stuff, and then it's just one of those things that people like to give themselves more of a pat on the back kind of thing, right? Now,
Right.
when it comes to talent, you talked about how to find that talent, find all those people to give you that feedback, to give you that those comments that allows you to find what your talents are. You also talk about finding purpose and living life with purpose. So, in your definition, what exactly is living life with purpose?
I'm going to use one word, and it comes from one of my mentors and somebody that I actually coached under and received some certification under, and that's Mr. John C. Maxwell. He uses a word often, and he's written a book about it, intentional living. That's the book that he wrote about the subject. But that word intention. How do I live with purpose? You live with intention.
Mm-hmm.
You get up every morning intentionally doing certain things in certain ways for a certain reason to get a certain outcome. If you learn to live with intention, you will very quickly begin to live a life of purpose. Most people, and that's a dangerous word to say, most people, because I don't have a statistic, so I'm going to use a very wide brushstroke. That's my fiat right there, and my assumption, I guess, most people don't live with intention. Living with intention is hard. It's hard work. It requires forethought. It requires focus. And thinking is the hardest thing you'll ever do on the planet, which is why most people don't do it. It's why most people just react. They complain, they whine, and so thinking is the hardest thing that you'll ever do. But if you can take time to engage in thinking intentionally about who you are, how you can contribute to life, and what you can do with some intention in your life for a specific reason to get to a specific place or for a specific thing, you'll very quickly begin to live a life of purpose. I truly believe, we're created to live on purpose for a purpose,
right?
And that is to serve others. If you say, well, my purpose is to just be happy, no, you've missed the boat, man. Oh, my purpose in life is just to just positivity and be on the beach and oh my gosh, what a shallow existence you must live. To live on purpose means that you live it with intention in the service of others.
No, you talked about having that intention on a daily basis, right? Knowing that focus, knowing that purpose, finding out what you want to do to serve. Now, you also, as everybody can tell here, have great energy and great passion for what you're talking about. So does Alan Goff wake up in the morning and go, laser focused, I know exactly what I'm going to do, I'm motivated, I'm energetic, I have intention? Or how do you ramp it up to that point from when you wake up to when you're ready to go?
So I'm going to come back to that question. You said, does Alan Goff wake up excited and full of intention, ready to go? And I'm like, yeah, sometimes. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. I'm a normal guy. I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like everybody else does. There are those times when I wake up. And I'm going to tell you something, though, that when you live with intention, you live on purpose. You wake up more days, significantly more days like that than you do needing the kickstart. See, one of the things that I think, it's just me, it's just what I think to be true. I could be really wrong. I'm a dude. That means I'm wrong often, right? but what I think is that the majority of the world wake up every day and they do this, Fong. They go, ugh, right? There's the alarm clock goes off and they go, ugh, I have to get up. I have to go here and I have to do that. Ugh. And it's a life of drudgery. But I think we were actually designed to get up every morning and say, all right, I get to get up and I get to do this and I get to go there. And when you're living with intention and you're living on purpose to fulfill a meaningful, worthwhile purpose, and it allows you to exercise your natural gifts and talents and abilities and do the thing that you're most passionate about. I truly believe that's when you're living at your highest level of potential. And when that happens, I'm waking up before the alarm clock. I mean, Zig Ziglar, the late great Zig Ziglar, used to call the alarm clock the opportunity clock. But you know, when you're living that way, you're getting up before the alarm clock goes off.
Yeah.
You just can't wait. When I know that I have a speaking engagement a certain day, or I know that I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be teaching a lesson, or I'm going to be holding a seminar, or I'm a guest speaker at this place, or I have a Zoom, you know, whatever that might be. Man, those are the days that I'm up well before the alarm clock, and I'm focused and I'm excited and I'm out for a run, man, and I am unstoppable from the moment I wake up. Mm-hmm. Because I get to do the thing that I love the most. But you know, when I slide and I kind of let things, you know, I'm normal. Sometimes I just kind of have those days. Mm-hmm. And maybe I don't have anything booked that day. I don't have anything planned that day. I'm not going to be on the platform that day. Maybe I'm in a little bit of a writer's block, and I haven't been doing great sitting down to write, and I allow myself to just slide a little bit. Man, those days are hard days for me to get up. The alarm clock goes off and I go, ugh. Because I have no intention for that day. Mm-hmm. I've not put forethought into getting up and going, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and it's going to get me further down the, you know, up the field this way, and it's going to get me further down the road in life this way, and I'm going to get that accomplished by the end of the day for that purpose. When I don't have that in place, I wake up like a lot of people do, just kind of go, ugh. Mm-hmm. And then the best thing that I can do is talk to myself. You know, and sitting right here beside me, I won't show, but I have 2 pages of some things that I wrote out to myself, and it's me speaking to myself about myself, you know, speaking over myself, and I read those out loud to myself, and I begin to just shift the energy in myself, and I put up some music that energizes me and motivates and gets me moving, and I have to purposefully get myself back into that state of being, in that state of mind. But that, my friend, also requires for me to be intentional. Mm-hmm. No, if I'm not that way, I'm gonna waste a day and slide.
Yeah. Now, what you kind of explained there also has there's a danger area too. So some people might go, you know what? I'm gonna have to schedule everything. If I schedule everything and block out all this time for this thing, then I am intentional on something because everything's set up. But then now you're kind of hitting towards that point where I don't have time for myself.
Right.
Right. So how do you balance that? Because I'm sure, like, in order for you to have the energy that you have, you need to balance the intentional work time plus the intentional you time.
Right. I learned something one time that I read for the first time from a book by an author named Timothy Ferriss, The 4-Hour Work Week. Mm-hmm. It goes back years and years ago. And I learned a concept in there that really changed my life, kind of in this capacity. You're right. I used to be the guy that scheduled everything. Well, first I was the guy that scheduled nothing. Really, I really was. For many years of my life, Fong, I was the guy that lived average or below average like everybody else. And I struggled. I would get home at the end of the day and I would just be exhausted, be wiped out, I'd be tired. I'd go, oh, I'm so busy today. You know, like so many people, they run around like a chicken with their head cut off and never get any. And my wife would say to me, she said, oh, well, what'd you get accomplished today? I hated that question. And I hated that word. She'd say, what did you actually get done today? I couldn't answer the question because I actually got nothing done. I got a lot of things started. I got my hands on a lot of things and I was in a lot of conversations and busy, and exhausted me. And I had no energy left to give anybody at the end of the day. But I actually didn't get specific things done. Well, then I began to learn how to schedule my time. And here's what I learned from Timothy Ferriss, you know, and he taught me how to create a 6 most important tasks to accomplish list, not a to-do list, because a to-do list is long, right? When you look at a to-do list and it's 47 items long or 23 items long or even 14 things long, we get overwhelmed. And when we get overwhelmed saying all these things that have to get done, what do? We procrastinate right out of the get-go, and we go find other things that are easier to occupy our time with. And so it actually creates a larger problem. But if you choose only 6 things, and here's how I look at it, as an entrepreneur or as a professional, what are the 6 most important things? Only 6, no more than 6. But what are the 6 most important things that I have to get done today, achieved? Intentionally move forward to get achieved before I put my head on the pillow tonight. Knowing that, I want you to think of this. Here's how I think of it, that at midnight, the tsunami wave is coming through and it's going to wipe me out. And the only thing that stands when the wave comes to hit me is the things that I got accomplished that day. Those things better darn well be proactive, productive, and profitable. Move my life forward with purpose. Move my business forward with purpose. Move my vision forward with purpose. No more than 6. What are those 6 most important things that only I can do and only I should do? See, it's my personal responsibility to be intentional about. If somebody else should be doing them or somebody else could be doing them, that goes on a to-do list for somebody else. So what are the 6 most important tasks that only I can do and only I should do to achieve today, to move me forward with intention that gives me the satisfaction that I've had a successful day?
Right.
Now I go to work on the very first one, which is the number one most important. See, a lot of people say to me, well, I do the easy thing first. Why would you do the easy thing first? That makes no sense to me. Oh, it's because then it's easy and I can quickly get it done and I can put a check mark on my list and then I can go do the next easy thing and it's quick and easy and it makes me feel good and I put a check. And so it gives me a sense of accomplishment. I go, but if it's not the most important thing, man, you're wasting your time.
And unfortunately, a lot of them will go, I got that check mark on the easiest thing. Now I need to celebrate.
Yeah. And we celebrate too often and too soon and too long. And then some people do the hard thing first. Well, I do the hard thing first because it's hard and it uses up a lot of focus and energy and attention. Once I get it off my plate and I get it done, then I can relax for the rest of the day. I kind of understand that. But if it's not the most important thing that you should be doing in that moment to move you forward, why are you doing it? So get that first number one most important thing done. And here's what I can tell you. Even if you get nothing else done for the day, Fong, you've got that number one most important thing done, you've had a successful day. I've learned that if I could move into that process, those 6 things, more often than not, I'm getting those almost always. I'm getting those things done way earlier than I ever used to get accomplished in a whole day. I can get those 6 things done by noon often. Maybe I might be exaggerating a little bit, but when you schedule your day with focus and intention, using a 6 most important tasks to accomplish list, prioritizing those tasks to accomplish in a prioritized manner, the number one most important, focus on that. You'll get more done in an hour than you used to get done in a half a day or a full day. I guarantee you that. Keep your interruptions and your distractions away and just focus on what you need to do. You will find very quickly that the rest of the things that you need to do or want to do, family, work-life balance things, social things, you will have much more time to do those things that brings you that balance that maybe you don't have, because right now you're trying to do so many things and you're scheduling your day for every single thing. You don't even have the time to allow the day to come to you. I found with more structure, that's going to sound strange, but with more structure, but in a better way to structure it, I have considerably more freedom to live my day the way I want to live my day and let the day come to me and unfold. And it is a beautiful way to live. No more stress, no more anxiety, no more running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I get more done in less time and I'm much more effective, proactive, productive, and profitable. That's what it's all about.
I think a lot of people who just heard that's like, wow, no anxiety, no stress, no nothing. That sounds awesome.
I mean, that might sound a little bit too unrealistic. I mean, do I not have stress in my life? Of course I have stress in my life. We live in it's the world we live in. There are negative things. There are stressful things. So I can't say I don't have any. But in the concept of the conversation which we're talking about, I lead an extremely different life than most people do. I think it's the way we're supposed to live.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you consult with a lot of different business owners, entrepreneurs, and you help them achieve lots of goals. Now, you're a person who's been known to not tell you that you can't achieve your goals or to meet high goals. How do you do so? How do you help other entrepreneurs reach those goals that they've set up for themselves and turn out higher profits?
When I really decided that this is what I wanted to do with the rest of my life and help people in this capacity, I went and spent some personal time with a guy that unfortunately is no longer with us on the planet, the late, great Mr. Bob Proctor. And he had a phrase that I thought was so ballsy. Can I say that? And he used to say this. He says, I can show you a proven process that if you can get your head wrapped around it and understand it and actually begin to do what I'll teach you in the process, You can achieve 100% of every goal you'll ever set for yourself, regardless of how big or ridiculous you or anybody else thinks it is. Here's the key: in about half the time that you think you can. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. This guy's smoking something great. But that's exactly what he taught me to do. And my life really changed. It really, really did. And I thought, this is my purpose. This is what I want to teach people to do. How to achieve every goal that they set for themselves, regardless of how ridiculous or stupid or asinine they might think it is. And then likely half the time that they think they can. Mm-hmm. And that's really what I do. How do we do that? I'm going to give you the simplest formula for your listenership and for your audience today. I'm going to give you so much value right here, and I'm going to give it to you for free. Number one, you have got to know what it is that you want. That sounds very simple. And some people go, yeah, I've heard that before. But Fong, the number one reason people do not get in life what they think that they want in life is because they really don't know what they want in life. They have a fuzzy idea. I want an easier life. I want more money. I don't want to live in this town anymore. I don't want to be in this dead-end relationship anymore. I want to drive a nicer car. They have these fuzzy-wuzzy ideas, but with clarity and preciseness and conciseness, they don't know really what it is they want. You have got to know with surety what it is that you want. So the number one thing that I'm going to help you with, or something that I'm going to sit with to get the success that they want, is, what do you want? Mm-hmm. And I help them define what their definition of success is. You see, you have a different definition of success than I do. And you should, because we're different people. We have different interests and different things. So what is your definition of success? What do you want? What does that actually look like? And not just in finances and not just in business, but in every one of the 8 lanes of life. What do you want? And then number 2, why do you want that? See, the numbers 2 reason, the second big reason why people do not get in life what they say it is that they want, even if they know what it is that they want, is because they don't really know why they want it. Now, the majority of people, especially that are maybe tuning into a program like yours, because birds of a feather flock together. So we're knowledge bound, and we're lifelong learners. We want to succeed more, and we're motivational people. And so, what do we hear in that space? Why? You got to know your why. There's a lot of truth to that. It's not a fuzzy, wuzzy, airy, fairy word. You have to know why it is that you want what it is that you say you want. But here's the key, Fong. It's not all the good sounding things that everybody else says. Mm-hmm. Oh, I want to do this because I want to help people. Are you kidding me? Come up with something original, won't you? Everybody says they want to help somebody. And maybe that's the real reason. And maybe that's the truth. I think it is for a lot of people. But it's not the real reason behind that. Why do you want to help people? See, you've got to get to the real reason why it is that you want what it is that you want. And if you can't answer the question, the real why, you're never going to get what it is that you even say that you want, even if you can say it with clarity. You've got to know your reason. And I say, even if it is a negative motivator, you've got to know why it is that you want that. Mm-hmm. See, when I started out in the speaking industry back in 2006, I had a big ego and a fragile ego. I mean, I think a lot of speakers do, and I think it's almost a prerequisite at some stage, early, in the early years. But people would say, "Why do you want to be a speaker? Why do you want to be a motivational speaker? Why do you want to travel the world?" Oh my goodness sakes! I could tell you all the things that everybody. Oh, I wanna be a catalyst for change, and I want to change the world for the better, and I want to teach people, and I want to help them equip people to live at their best life, and it sounded wonderful. It sounded great. All those wonderful things that people say. And I would say things like, I want to provide the best for my family, and I want to give my family and my kids the opportunity that I never had. Oh, all those wonderful sounding things. Mm-hmm. Oh, give me a break. None of those were true for me. You want to know and here's what I can tell you with honesty. Until I got really honest with me and put my ego, and just kind of went, here's the real reason for me, and own it. It wasn't until that moment that I actually began to see success in my speaking. I struggled in my speaking, and I couldn't get a speaking engagement. And when I do, I was giving it half price. And I just wasn't getting very far until I really got to why I wanted it. Once I owned why I wanted it and could verbalize it and hear me say it, and that's when things began to change for me. So you got to know what you want. You got to know why you want it. And just because people are now probably wondering what my why was, because I was selfish and shallow, and I had a big ego, and I just wanted big fat paychecks and a standing ovation. And if you would stroke my ego, I was the happiest guy on the planet, and that's why I did what I wanted to do. But you see, of course, sure, I'm a different man than I was then. I've, many years has gone by. I've grown, I've had some depth, and you know what? I really don't have much of an ego anymore. It certainly isn't as fragile as it once was. But I had to get there. I had to know why I was doing this thing. Because until I really knew why I was doing this thing, I couldn't fully go after what it is that I said that I wanted. Mm-hmm. Because I was just repeating like a parrot all the nicey things that everybody else was saying. So number one, you've got to know what it is with clarity and conciseness, what it is that you want. What is your exact definition of success in this area of life, this area, and why do you want that? The third biggest reason why people do not get what they want, Fong, is because they lose focus on that thing that it is that they say that they want. Mm-hmm. That's where my mental toughness coaching comes in. My job is to help you discover what it is that what you define success as, and get clarity, a detailed picture of what it is that you want in your life, why you want that, why you really, really want that, and then help you stay laser focused to get that. Mm-hmm. Before Donald Trump ever became president, I watched him give a speech one time, and he used the word focus as an acronym, and it was brilliant, and I wrote it down. I never forgot it. Focus, F-O-C-U-S, follow one course until successful. If you can remove yourself from outside distractions and stay laser focused on that thing that you want, that's, and only that is where you can achieve 100% of every goal you want in likely about half the time that you think you can. So for your listenerships and your audience, know exactly with clarity and conciseness what it is that you want. What is your definition of success? Why do you want that? What is the real reason behind why you want that? So you got to know what the real motivator is. Because there's going to be tough days and hard days and discouraging days and days where you're going to want to give up. And if your why is just some airy-fairy, floaty out there, feel-good motivational thingy that everybody else says, that wears off by the time you hit rush hour traffic. Mm-hmm. But if you really, really know why it is that you want that, and that hits you at a deep, deep, deep emotional level, it's going to either make you mad or glad or sad or something, then I can take you back to that moment and get you re-inspired and re-motivated to get through the hurdles to get back on track to what it is that you say that you want. And then we got to stay focused, follow one course to the exclusion of outside distractions to get that thing that you say that you want. And we can do that more often than not in about half the time that you think you can. You really, really can.
Awesome. I hope lots of people are taking notes because those are great words to live by. And obviously it works because you've achieved everything that you set your mind to. So very, very important stuff. Now, when we talk about legacy, because we were talking about this right before we started recording, and I thought, hey, this would be a great little piece of content for people. What is legacy to you, and when do people have to start thinking about it?
Oh, good Lord, I love that question. And I was really hoping that you would bring that back into the conversation, Fong. So God bless you for that. As we were talking earlier before we hit the record button, legacy to me is a now thing. Legacy, I used to think that legacy was a future thing. When I'm old and I'm gray and I'm on my last leg and then I finally breathe my last breath and I'm long gone and now I'm just going to be compost, well, I leave behind a legacy. And that's a future thing. That's years down the road. And I've got all the time in the world to plan for my legacy. Mm-hmm. See, I think I was thinking like a lot of people, oh, that's future. And that's far into the future. I've got a lot of time yet to start thinking about legacy. I don't have to worry about, no. No, legacy is a right now thing. Legacy is a today thing. Legacy is today. So I said this before we hit the record button, and it's going to sound, it's not going to sound so great. But if I walked out the door, you walked out the door after we got off the call and we got hit by the proverbial bus and now we're just a grease spot on the pavement, boom, legacy happens right now. What legacy are you leaving behind right now? I remember the very first time I began to look at that for myself and ask myself those questions. Of course, you know a little bit of my background, and I had a health crisis that was basically taking me out. They were measuring me for my pine box. Thank the Lord that wasn't my time, but we sure thought it was my time then. And I began to look at who am I and what kind of a man am I? How did I get here? And I began to think of this thing called legacy, and I realized, man, if this thing does take me out, this is my legacy. Mm-hmm. It was an embarrassing legacy at best. It was pathetic, and it really, can I say pissed me off? Can I say that? You know, and I mean, it angered me to realize this pathetic thing is going to be my legacy. This is all I'm leaving behind for planet Earth behind me. This is it. It was terrible. I realized because I was not intentional about my legacy. So legacy is today. Legacy is now. What do you want to leave behind for planet Earth and for future generations when you're no longer here? Because you're going to leave behind something. For some people, it's endowment funds, and you know, they got a name on the side of a building, and there's lots of financial things attached to that. That's not exactly legacy. It could be, but it's not legacy. What are you leaving behind? How, when your time is gone, how does the world move forward better because you were here, although you're no longer here? That requires a lot of intention and a lot of forethought and a lot of purpose-driven life behind it. I can't answer that question for anybody. Did I even get close to answering that question?
You created a lot of questions for people to think about. So at least we're on the first step towards creating that legacy. Okay. Now, what is the next big thing for you? What's on the horizon? What is the next step towards building your legacy?
Well, I got to tell, I'm going to come back to something that you and I talked about when we first got together today before we hit the record button. For your listeners, I wrote a book back in 2009, and I self-published that book. And that book came out of the health crisis I just talked about. I realized, holy moly, if this takes me out of here, this is it. Well, the good news is I came out of that, and I got a second chance, and I thank the Lord for that every single day. But through that I began to write. I thought, I'm going to write about this experience and the life-changing, lessons that I learned in that really put me on a very, very, very different trajectory that brought me to where I am today and where I'm going. So I wrote that book. I look at that book now, Fong. Like I say, that came out in 2009. I got to tell you something. It was one of the hardest things I ever did. I remember I told you earlier, I was that classic D student. I mean, I was the kid that just surfed through school. If I showed up, I didn't apply myself. And I was kind of that ADD, OCD, troubled kid all the time in school. And it was just not a good place for me. It wasn't a fun place. It wasn't a productive place for me. So I wrote my book. My book comes out in 2009. I'm standing in a little gift shop in the town I live in the city I lived in at the time. And somebody that I knew as an acquaintance somehow heard that I had published a book. And they said, "Hey, Al Goff, I heard that you published a book. I heard that you wrote a book." And I said, "Yes, I did." And then I heard a woman's voice behind me. And she said, "You wrote a book?" And I turned around, and it was my high school English teacher. And she said, "You wrote a book?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, that proves that if you can do it, anybody can do it." So all I'm saying in that is I never thought I was smart enough to write a book. I remember growing up in school. I'm old enough to have experience sitting on a stool at the front of my class with a cone hat on with a big D on it. I've experienced that. Okay. I remember a teacher one time handing me back a spelling quiz with a big fat red letter F on it. And she said in front of the whole class, "You will never learn how to read, and you will never learn how to write. You're too stupid."
Wow.
And here I am at 57 years old. I know I'm gorgeous for 57.
You look awesome.
When I wrote that book, I was 40 years old, and that haunted me. I thought, I'm too stupid. I can't write a book. I can't read. I can't write very well. What am I doing trying to think that I can write a book? Now let's fast forward. I wrote the book, and it's now long out of print. But where am I going right now? I'm realizing that I'm at a stage in my life where I'm thinking, I've got so much yet to share. I have so much to teach people. I have so much to share. There's so much that I want to make sure the world gets before I'm gone. How do I do that? And because I have close friends around me, they're saying, "Al, you got to write some more. You got to write some more. We need some books out of you. There are books in you. And Al, you got to get them out. Can you get them out of you? Can you get them out?" And so now what's for me? I really have this feeling that I've got books in me. I'm convinced of it. There's books in me that have to come out. And so now I'm moving very strategically with intention and purpose to get back into that place where I can get all of this out And I have a series of books already mapped out, and I go, I have this one to write, and then this one is a follow-up, and then this one is a follow-up, and this will be that series, and this will be that series. So Fong, I have some writing ahead of me to do.
I'm looking forward to it and to collect the entire series.
There you go. And then maybe one day you can sell them on eBay for 50 cents. There you go. So.
I don't think so. Before we let you go, I got one last question for you. And I know throughout this entire interview, you gave a lot of great advice, a lot of great recommendations. But if you want to sum up one message for representing who Alan Goff is, one message to share the world, what's that one message?
You are uniquely gifted to be the absolute best in the world at something. You really are. So Fong, I see you on the screen right now, and I'm speaking directly to you. But there's other people right now that are watching this that I don't know who they are, but I'm speaking to that person. I'm speaking to that man, to that woman, to that child, to that boy, to that girl. I'm speaking to you. You are uniquely gifted to be the best in the world at something. Now, not just anything and not everything, but something. Never forget that. Can I unpack that just a little, Fong?
Yeah, sure.
See, we talked about some things today. You have natural God-given talents, abilities, gifts, and strengths. And yours are different than mine. And even if all we look at is those four things, those tags, talents, abilities, gifts, and strengths, and you could discover what those are for you. And as you heard me say before, you mine those to the surface so that you can walk in those and work in those and live in those every single day. That alone would set you apart to be fantastically great at something. But now we're going to take those and we combine that with the thing or things that you're most passionate about. And we combine that with your upbringing and your education and your expertises and your experiences and the lessons that you've learned and the transformations that you've gone through. And now you combine those with your talents and your abilities and your gifts and strengths and the thing or the things that you're most passionate about. Mm-hmm. There isn't another person, I can guarantee you, there isn't another person on the planet that has the same combination of all of those things as you do. You're a snowflake. And I mean that in the most positive sense, right? Not the negative sense of snow. It's like there isn't another person like you on this planet. There really isn't. We might look the same as some people. We might have similar interests as some people. We hang together with people that are like us. Birds of a feather flock together. We're like-minded, but yet you are so unique, so different. People in society, they want to be like everybody else. Quit being like everybody else. Get a hold of your uniqueness. Get a hold of your differentiation, because that is what sets you apart. And if you can understand that and know that you, because of those uniquenesses, really can be the best in the world at something. The world needs you to be the best in the world at what you can be. That, my friend, requires you to live with intention. That will allow you to live with purpose. And that will set you up to leave the best legacy possible.
Awesome. This is where you drop your mic, right? That's a great message. Hopefully lots of people are taking that to heart and finding their inner talent and skill sets and passion to propel them along. So thank you very much for that. I actually have 5 quick rapid fire questions for you before you go. First question, you're stranded on a deserted island. One food to eat for the rest of your life, no consequence. What would that be?
Big, fat, juicy steak.
Hollywood calls and says, hey, Alan, we need to do a biopic on you. Who do you want to be casted to play you?
Oh, my goodness. Who do I want to cast to play me? Oh, what a question. You're going to stump me. Can we come back to that one? Who do I want to cast me? I don't know.
Okay, we'll come back.
Okay.
If you were able to win the gold medal in any sport, which would that be?
Oh, I got to tell you, I love watching the Olympics, and my favorite sport is the fastest man on the planet. That 100 meter. That would be me. If that was for me, I'd run like the wind.
Awesome. You're on a long road trip, and for some reason or another, there's only one song that's stuck on a loop, over and over and over again. What's that one song you're okay listening to? throughout the entire trip?
Oh my gosh, I could come up with thousands, but I got to pick one. Make this one count, Al. So here's something that almost nobody knows about me. I think there's probably like 3 people on the planet know about me. Because of my dad's influence and the way I was brought up, one of my favorite genres of music is Southern gospel quartet music. I love it. And there is an old song that Southern gospel quartets would sing way back in the day. And it goes, I just feel like something good is about to happen.
Awesome.
It's one of my favorite songs. I sing that every morning. I just feel like something good is about to happen. That's my song.
Awesome. Back to that second question. Who are you going to be casted to play you?
Well, I'm going to choose a gentleman by the name of Mr. Kevin Costner. And here's why. I've been a big fan of the series that he did, the Yellowstone series. Mm-hmm. And I know he's just a character. But I think the guy's been fantastic in so many other movies that he's done. But when I see that character, and of course it makes me think of that actor. The guy is fearless. Mm-hmm. The guy is relentless. The guy has a backbone. The guy will say it like it is, regardless of if it ruffles feathers. And damn it, that's how I want. Hopefully I get to be remembered, not that I'm ruffling feathers, but I have a backbone and I got a set of balls and I say it like it is, even if people don't want to hear it because it makes them better. That's my guy.
Okay, Costner shows up at your door and goes, hey, I got casted and let's hang out. Let's get to know each other. Boy, I'm hungry. And you go, no problem. I'm going to go to the kitchen. I'll prepare something quick. What is that special dish that you can prepare?
It's the same thing that I'm going to eat on that deserted island for the rest of my life. A big, juicy, marbled steak.
Awesome. And my final question before we get to that one, give me a number from 1 to 4.
Oh, we're going with 3. It's got to be 3.
2, 3. So how is success similar to a bird bath?
Wow. How is success similar to a bird bath? The very first thing that comes into my mind, Fong, is watching a bird at a bird bath. So it's got some water in it because it's rained or someone's put some water in it. And that little bird comes to the bird. You ever watch a bird?
Oh, yeah.
They get at the bird bath. They don't just step in the water. They don't just put their feet in the water. No. They if you watch them, they actually get their head down under the water's surface. They get their head under there. And then they get their head up and they flip the water back on top of them. That's how they get wet. They get their head under the water, they flip their head up and the water goes over them, and then they shake it off and this feather, goes back this way and this feather goes back, and they wash themselves. Success is just like that. It's a perfect picture. Why? You will never be successful if you just walk up to the proverbial bird bath of life and put your feet in it. You'll never be successful if you just get your feet wet. It requires you to get your head in it and get your head under there. Dive in there head first and get it all over you. You got to get in head first and get it all over you. That, my friend, is how success is like a bird bath.
Awesomely done. Thank you very much for that. So that is how success is like a bird bath. Now, if anybody wants to reach out to you, what's the best way?
Easiest way, go to my website, alangoff.ca. No, yeah, that's what it is. Jeez, alangoff.ca, ALAN. My first name is a 4-letter word. My last name, GOFF. My last name is a 4-letter word, alangoff.ca. Go to my website. Mm-hmm. Now, you'll find me on social media, all the different things, but just go to my website. Under the contact link, click that. You can write me a little email right there. It'll land in my email box, and I will reply to you. Or there's a link there. You can click on that link, and you will be able to schedule a 45-minute call with me. I will always gladly give up for free 45 minutes of my time to talk one-on-one privately with somebody that has taken the effort and initiative to reach out to me. Mm-hmm. So go to my website, go to the contact portion of that website, send me an email or schedule a call with me, and we'll move forward from there. But it requires that person to live with intention and take the responsibility to go make that move.
Great. Awesome. So everybody, make sure you connect with Alan. Lots of great stuff. Obviously, lots of great passion, lots of energy. It's never a dull moment when you get to talk to him one-on-one. So it's going to be a lot of fun, lots of life-changing moments with that talk as well. Any final words from you?
Yeah, I want to talk about you just for a second. I want your listeners, I want your listeners to know something about you that they might not know. You see, folks, Fong and I, we met at an event that I was speaking at back in 2012, I think,
Yeah.
in Edmonton, Alberta, at a large, it was called the Super Conference, put on by an organization called Fast Track. The Fast Track company. It was kind of like the Canadian division, if you sort of almost will, of Rich Dad, of Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I was speaking at that event, and that's where you and I met. Now, folks, listen to this. Ever since then, was that 2012? I'm pretty sure that was 2012. How many years since then? 12, 13, 14, 15. And then, yeah, 10 years.
10 years.
Fong has sent me a Christmas card. Every single year at Christmas, I get at least, I know I'm going to get one card. And for the last years, I get one card, and it's from you. You have sent me a Christmas card every single year for 10 years. And we've never seen each other again since that moment in person or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that speaks of your character. That speaks of the kind of person you are. That speaks of the kind of value that you bring to people. That speaks of the kind of connection and that requires intention. That has, my daughter was over for a visit last night, and she says, we're talking about, well, what's going to happen tomorrow. And I said, oh, I'm doing this interview with Fong. And she says, is that the guy that sends you the Christmas card every year? I'm like, that's the guy. I just want people to know that about you, because although it's small, that you show consistency, you show character, you show intentionality in that thing, and that becomes part of who you are as a person and your brand. I don't know anybody that has stayed so connected, so intentionally for so long with me than anybody else on this planet than you.
Wow. Well, thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. And I'm very, very fortunate to be still connected with you. And it's been a blast having you on the show. I've learned a lot, and it's a great start to my day. So thank you very much.
Well, the honor is all mine. Thank you. It's been a great investment of our time together. And I just hope that in some small way, we've been able to add some value to your audience and your listenership today.
Great. Thank you. So for everybody, he is Alan Goff. My name is Fong. Until next time, today is the day to unlock your peak potential. We'll see you later.